She whispered, "I love you," on the phone, and I was standing right behind her. I stopped so hard my heels slid on the tile, just a tiny squeak, like the house itself tried to warn her. The hallway light was off, so I was mostly shadow, and she was in that little pocket of warm glow by the kitchen counter. One shoulder tucked up like she was cold, bare feet on the mat, phone pressed her ear. Her voice was soft in that way people get when they think they're alone. Not her normal voice. Not the voice she uses when she's asking me to grab her a towel or telling me the grocery list. This was a voice with space in it. A voice that expected someone to catch it. "I love you," she repeated, and then she laughed under her breath, like the words tasted good. My stomach dropped so fast it felt like my organs lagged behind the rest of me. My hand was still wrapped around my keys, metal teeth biting into my palm. I should have said her name. I should have made noise. Instead, I just stood there, holding my breath like that could keep the moment from becoming real. She shifted, turning slightly, and for half a second I thought she'd see me. But she didn't. She was looking out the window, over the sink, like there was something romantic in the dark backyard. "No," she murmured, almost teasing. "You can't say that, not right now." There was a pause, and then her face softened in a way I hadn't seen aimed at me in months. I know. I miss you too." My ears started ringing. It wasn't loud, but everything else went muffled, like I'd been submerged. And then, as if she sensed me without seeing me, she lowered her voice even more and said, "He's home." Her eyes flicked toward the hallway. Toward me. Through me. My throat tightened so hard I couldn't swallow. She took 2 steps away from the counter, still on the call, and I retreated instinctively, 1 step back into the darkness like I was the one doing something wrong. It was a Wednesday night, technically, the kind of midweek evening that's supposed to be boring. We'd been married 8 years, together for 11, and our life had settled into these predictable grooves. Her shower at 7, my leftovers at 9, a show half-watched while we scrolled, small conversations about work and bills. Lately, those grooves felt less like routine and more like ruts. I'm not saying we were miserable all the time. We laughed. We did holidays. We still had friends over sometimes. But there was this thin layer of distance that had been building quietly, like dust you don't notice until you wipe a finger across the shelf. Her name is Tessa. She's 32, sharp, organized, the type who remembers people's birthdays and keeps extra batteries in a drawer labeled batteries. I'm 34, I work in IT, and I've always been the steady one in our relationship. Fixing stuff, doing the errands, making sure the car's serviced, the rent paid, the health insurance updated. I used to feel proud of that. Lately, it felt like I was maintaining a life she'd already checked out of. That night, I'd come home early because my last meeting got canceled. I was actually in a good mood for once. I'd stopped at that bakery she likes and bought the stupid little lemon tarts that cost too much, but make her eyes do that thing where they brighten for a second. I walked in quietly because I thought I'd surprise her. I even practiced the line in my head, something dumb like "Guess who's off the clock," with the box held behind my back like a sitcom husband. I didn't hear the TV. I didn't hear the shower. I heard her voice. And then I heard those words. After she said, "He's home," she turned her back to the hallway fully, like putting her body between the call and the rest of the house. She rested her hip against the counter and stared at the floor, nodding to whoever was speaking. "No, I can't," she whispered. "Not tonight. Just tomorrow." "Okay." Another pause, then a soft, broken little exhale. "I love you too." She ended the call quickly, thumb moving fast like she'd done it 100 times, and then she just stood there for a second with her eyes closed like she was bracing herself. That was when my body finally remembered how to move. I stepped forward just enough that the kitchen light caught my face. She opened her eyes and saw me. The change was instant. Her shoulders jerked. Her hand flew to her chest like she'd been startled by a noise. And then, because she's Tessa, because she's always composed, she smoothed her expression into something neutral so fast, it was almost impressive. "Hey," she said, too bright, too casual. "You're home early." Her voice had snapped back into the normal setting, like she'd adjusted a dial. I held up the little pastry box without meaning to. It looked pathetic in my hand, like an offering to a person who wasn't hungry. "Yeah," I said, The word came out dry. My mouth felt like I'd been chewing paper. Who were you on the phone with? Her eyes flicked to the hallway, like checking if she could escape past me, then back to my face. My mom, she said immediately. Too fast. Too smooth. Hier. I didn't say, that's not your mom's ringtone. I didn't say, I heard you. I just watched her lips settle into that small line she makes when she's trying to hold control. Your mom, I repeated because my brain was still trying to keep up. You told your mom you love her and that you miss her and that I'm home. She blinked once, long and slow, like she was buying herself a second. She's been going through stuff, she said. You know that. I didn't know her mom had been going through stuff for the past decade. That wasn't what had put that softness in Tessa's voice. That wasn't what had made her laugh like she was flirting. My fingers tightened around the pastry box until the cardboard flexed. Tessa, I said quietly. I was standing right behind you. Her face went still. Not shocked, not confused, just blank, like the mask dropped for half a second and there was nothing underneath except calculation. How much did you hear? She asked. That question, more than anything, wrecked me. Not denial. Not panic. Not what are you talking about? Just a clean audit of what evidence I had. I felt my throat tighten again, and suddenly I was aware of how stupid I looked. Still wearing my work badge, still holding desserts like I'd walked into the wrong version of my own life. Enough, I said. I heard you say you love him. She swallowed. I watched her do it. Her eyes went shiny, but her voice stayed controlled. It's not. She started, and then she stopped like even she didn't believe the next line. She tried again. It's complicated. It's a phone call, I said, and my voice rose despite me trying to keep it steady. It's not a complicated tax form. You said, I love you. Twice. She flinched like the word love hurt when I said it. Please, she whispered, and her eyes finally filled. Not like this. Not like this, I echoed, and I hated how sharp it came out. How would you prefer? Should I schedule it? Put it in the shared calendar? Confront wife about secret boyfriend. Thursday, 7 p.m. She made a small sound, half sob, half annoyed breath. Don't, she said. Don't do that. I set the pastry box down on the counter. The little lemon tarts were inside, perfect and useless. My hands were shaking now, the adrenaline finally arriving late like a rude guest. How long? I asked. She hesitated. It wasn't a dramatic hesitation. It was just a fraction of a second too long, a tiny pause where the truth sat on her tongue and weighed whether it was worth giving me. That pause answered me louder than any number could. Tessa, I said again, quieter now, because my chest felt tight, like breathing was suddenly optional. How long? A few months, she whispered. A few months. I tried to picture a few months in our life. Thanksgiving, my birthday, her work conference. That weekend we painted the spare room, and she kept going outside to take calls. That night, she fell asleep on the couch with her phone face down on her chest. A few months meant that in every ordinary day, there had been a hidden second life running underneath, like a parasite. Who is he? I asked, and my voice cracked on the word who. She wiped under her eye quickly, like she was annoyed at the tears. It doesn't matter, she said. It matters to me. I snapped, and it surprised me how angry I sounded. It matters because you were whispering I love you like it was a prayer. Her chin trembled. His name is Caleb, she said finally, and then she looked down at the counter like she couldn't bear to see my face while she spoke. He's from work. Of course he was. It's always from work. The place where people learn each other's schedules and vulnerabilities and how to look supportive in fluorescent light. I laughed once, but it wasn't humor. It was my body releasing pressure wherever it could. So you come home and tell me you're tired, I said, words spilling out now, and you go to bed early, and you're on your phone in the bathroom, and you've been with him. She shook her head quickly. No, she said. Not like you're thinking. Hier. Then what like? I asked and my voice dropped. Like you only loved him emotionally? Like you only gave him the part of you I haven't seen in a year? Her face crumpled. That one hit. I didn't plan it, she said, and now the tears actually came. I didn't wake up and decide to do this to you. It just happened. Nothing just happens for months. I wanted to say that. Instead, I felt this strange calm click into place, like my mind was putting a seatbelt on. When you told him he's home, I said, "Was that the first time?" She looked at me, then really looked, and something in her expression shifted from fear to a kind of resignation. "No," she whispered. We talk. A lot. And you love him," I said again, because my brain needed to keep touching the bruise to understand it was real. She nodded, barely. "I do," she whispered, like admitting it was relief and shame at the same time. The room went so quiet I could hear the refrigerator hum. I could hear my own breathing, uneven and too loud. In the background, the clock ticked like it was mocking us with normal time. I thought I'd scream. I thought I'd throw something. I thought I'd make it a scene the way people do in movies. Instead, I just felt heavy, like someone had poured wet sand into my ribs. "What were you going to do?" I asked. "Just keep doing this." She wiped her cheeks again, angry at her own tears. "I don't know," she said. "I didn't know what to do." "You could have told me," I said, "at any point. Before you let another man become a secret you carry around in your mouth." She flinched, and then her jaw tightened. "You haven't exactly been present," she said, and there it was, the pivot. The attempt to make my pain a mutual failure so she could share the guilt. "You're always tired. You're always on your laptop. You don't look at me the way you used to." I stared at her, and for a second I saw what she was trying to build, a story where this was inevitable, where her betrayal was just a symptom. It would have worked on me a year ago. It would have made me apologize. The thought made something inside me go cold. I was holding lemon tarts, I said quietly, gesturing at the box on the counter, and my voice sounded strange to my own ears. "I came home early because I wanted to see you. I was behind you in the dark like an idiot because I thought I was going to surprise my wife." Her face twisted. "I'm sorry," she said, but the words landed flat now, like coins thrown at a wound. "I'm so sorry." I nodded slowly, not because I accepted it, but because I was collecting myself. "I can't," I started, and my throat tightened again. I took a breath and tried again. "I can't sleep in the same bed as you tonight." Her eyes widened. "What?" she whispered, like that consequence was a shocking part. "No, please. This is our home." "Not tonight," I said. My voice was calm, and that scared me too. "Not with this in it." She took a step toward me, hands out like she could touch me back into stability. I stepped back. "Don't," I said. "Just don't." For a second, she looked like she might argue, and then she seemed to realize how close I was to breaking. She nodded, jerky and small, and turned toward the bedroom. I heard drawers open. I heard the zipper of a bag loud in the quiet. I stayed in the kitchen staring at the pastry box like it had betrayed me, too. When she came back out, her eyes were swollen, hair messy, wearing a sweatshirt she usually steals from me. She paused at the doorway. "I love you," she whispered. I didn't answer. Not because I didn't have feelings. Not because I was trying to be cruel. Because the word love had become slippery in my mouth, and I didn't trust it not to cut me. The door closed behind her. The house felt too big, too still. I stood there for a long time and didn't move. Then I opened the pastry box and ate one tart standing up because I didn't know what else to do with my hands. It tasted like lemon and sugar and something bitter underneath that I couldn't name. If you made it to the end, thank you for watching. And if you've ever had someone say something they thought you'd never hear, something that changed the shape of your whole life in 1 second, feel free to share your story in the comments.